Hi, my name is Chris Ober. I'm the director of the Cornell Nanoscale facility at Cornell University. Along with my other members of the leadership team, we direct the center. My own background is in material science. Claudia Fischbach-Teschel, our associate director, is a cancer researcher, and she's also director of Cornell's Physical Oncology Center. Ron Olson, our Director of Operations, is a long time member of industry. He comes to us from GE Power Electronics Group. And Lynn Rathbun has been with Cornell since before the founding of CNF, which was in 1977. The facility itself is a world-class open user facility. It's focused on micro and nanofabrication. We serve not only our area, but we have people from around the US and the world. It is part of NSF's NNCI, the National Nanotechnology Coordinated Infrastructure. And we carry out projects that range from completely blue sky university research to very focused product development in small companies. CNF addresses and helps our users address NSF's 10 big ideas. Why do they come to us? We offer an advanced tool set. So we have production quality E-beam and deep UV steppers. We also offer a broad range of etch and deposition tools, which is particularly useful as people are introducing new materials, studying things like quantum devices. NSF is not alone. It is part of the NNCI network, which consists of 16 sites spread throughout the country. So that enables researchers from across the continental United States to, with a short drive, arrive at one of these facilities. So although CNF is a regional facility located in upstate New York, as this map on the left shows with the red dots, it also has national reach. And so people come to CNF often with a drive as long as 1,000 miles to use our facility. As an NSF site, we also collect a lot of data. We know not only where our users come from, but what their backgrounds are. And so in this pie chart, I show you that we have 40% external users. So we're not just catering to Cornell researchers, but the broader nanoscience community. We also collect information about lab use hours, which until the pandemic was growing very, very nicely. And we know the makeup of use. We also know the areas that our users focus on. So for example, unique in NNCI, we have a very large life science medical user base. Like many other sites, we have strong materials and electronic materials researchers, as well as MEMS and optics. Now we collect information about the publications that our users produce. And here's just a cross-section of some of the different papers that have been published in the last few years. On the left, show you some example of microfluidic devices where researchers were studying the nuclear envelope rupture and its effect on the progression of the cancer disease itself. In the middle, we show you a device of a superconducting qubit. And on the right, we show you a picture of an OEC. This is in my words, a nanobot, and the intention is to build a little micro robot that can walk in living tissue, determine if there's a disease present, and perhaps someday actually treat the disease. And although it's hard to predict where technology leads to startups, in fact, the OEC is now part of the focus of activities in a small startup located in upstate New York. We track publications, presentation, and intellectual property. I've given you an example of some of the high impact papers, which represent 25% of our publications. Every year, our researchers patent or apply for patents over 100 times. A number of these lead to startups, and in a sense, that's a measure of the success of the work going on at CNF. And so we're averaging about 3 startups a year. We also are co-located with a engineering and physical sciences technology incubator that helps the startups to thrive. Now, we do a lot of workforce training. Staff expertise is essential in maintaining the equipment. It's user-focused. That is, the success of the staff is as a result of the success of the user. And in order to help the user, we carry out short courses. We offer short courses to both the users and interested people. Amongst our users are around 450 grad students, postdocs, undergrads every year. And of those, half of them are new users. And our staff train them and offer more than 2,500 individual tool training. So that's a lot of classroom time in effect. We offer weekly help sessions and free consulting, and because we are an NSF center, we offer research experience for undergrads and international REU, and we have a relationship with Morgan State University and HBCU, all of these being pipeline activities. Now, I mentioned startups a couple of times, and I'd like to give some anecdotal examples. It's much harder to track information of these groups, but let me tell you some stories about them. Some years ago, Greg Galvin, who's a former director of operations at CNF, saw some intellectual property that was languishing and decided to start a small company that would build MEMS accelerometers. At that time, smartphones were becoming popular. And so Greg's MEMS devices were among the first in a smartphone. And this company was quite successful, and he sold it for $250 million. He took this funding and created a new company focused on microfluidics. And that has turned out to be incredibly valuable to us and other people because they build tabletop PCR testing equipment. And this has been instrumental in our local area, at least for enabling us to test our undergrads twice a week to look for disease hotspots. Another example is Pacific Biosciences. It is a gene sequencing company. They make instrumentation for that. And this company is based on nanophotonics work that Steve Turner, who you see pictured, developed when he was a grad student at Cornell in the physics program. And he became CTO of the company, and it's turned into it's been very successful in the last decade, and it now has almost $4 billion market capitalization. It's hard for us to know what's going to be successful and what isn't. Perhaps Xalent, a small company designing microprobes for use inside the clean room for testing electronic devices, will be the next one. Perhaps OX Technology, making these little nanobots, will be the next one. But this is the kind of information we do track and think is valuable. Now, as a major NSF-supported center, we also have a substantial outreach activity. I can't tell you about all of them. We have an REU program throughout the NNCI network. We have an international REU program with a site in Japan that our location hosts for the rest of the network. We work with 4-H to spread the word about nanoscience and nanoengineering. 4-H has an office in every county in every state, and so it's just a wonderful synergy working with them. We can get the word out about developments in this area. And we also publish a nanoscience news magazine, which we distribute to the K-12 community. But I'm going to focus on the international REU program. It's a partnership with NIMS in Japan. They have many different sites like NNCI. They're distributed around the country. We offer the best REU students an opportunity to go to Japan as a kind of a capstone experience to learn about intercultural research. Since 2008, we've had 80 participants, and this program has been leveraged by the network to set up a cooperation with the Japanese researchers in the area of quantum science. This chart shows information that we've tracked. We have had 80 participants since its beginning. Of them, 56 have gone on either to get a PhD or in the process of getting a PhD. We have followed the lives of students who've got BS or MS degrees. Almost all of them have stayed in the sciences. Some have become patent attorneys and some have become doctors. Many of these students have gone on to earn NSF fellowships. So this type of longitudinal tracking gives us much better understanding of the sorts of accomplishments that NNCI has had and that CNF has had. So with this, what I'd like to do is just point out that it's pretty straightforward to collect information, but it's harder to get the truly meaningful data. And so things like longitudinal studies of REU students, user longitudinal outcomes, the effect of intellectual property and where it leads to being successful in nanoscience, how alignment with NNI strategic directions is being implemented, research impact, not just the things we can tell nice stories about, but the non-home runs and so on. So with that, I'd just like to wrap up. Hopefully you see what we collect for data, and perhaps this will influence our thinking going forward for NNI. And I'm looking forward to the rest of the workshop and the discussions that come with that. So thanks very much.